so you can't possibly respond to it. You're not sure of the meaning. And I'm going to continue hitting you because this is what comedians do.
You know, he's a man with the power. He's in 60 markets. He's written these books. You know, he's socially connected with the programs and Disney and all these type people.
Steve Harvey's polished image is starting to crack fast. The guy known for loyalty speeches, family values, and the homeless success story is suddenly facing serious family drama. In October 2024, his adopted son Jason was arrested after a chaotic situation tied to a strong psychedelic strain called Enigma. One woman was screaming that her body was dying, while another was reportedly found unclothed near the front door of a beachfront Airbnb. For most families, that would already be shocking enough. But this story hit differently, because people online immediately started connecting old warnings that were ignored for years. What once sounded like celebrity gossip suddenly started sounding a lot more serious. And here's the wild part.
I'm not talking about him particular, but if you go on a podcast to degrade and belittle another group of people, that's a little move to me. That's just real to me. I don't, if y'all ask me on the show, man, I don't want to talk negative about nobody. That's why I say, man, like, I would apologize to him, or I would say, ask the brother what's wrong, because I really want to know, But
the news exploded online. People dug up old interviews from Katt Williams and Wendy Williams talking about Steve Harvey and his family. Katt questioned the homeless story, and Wendy hinted at similar issues involving Marjorie's influence. Back then, fans brushed it off as hate, jealousy, or just drama. Now, with police reports and body cam footage making rounds online, those clips are getting fresh attention. People are rewatching everything with a different mindset. Now, reports say police rushed to the Airbnb after a frantic emergency call. Body cam footage allegedly showed multiple officers approaching the house with weapons drawn, making the whole situation look even more intense.
She used to hate, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell it all. I'm telling all y'all. She said, and it was like, she used to check news with big.
A woman could be heard screaming inside the Airbnb as officers rushed in. When police finally entered, they found Jason's wife, Amanda, and another woman in serious condition. Both were taken to the hospital, and Jason later admitted he had taken the same substance too. Amanda reportedly told medical staff they were filming a healing documentary about waking up past the system. She also claimed they brought in a shaman connected to combo and voodoo rituals. The details shocked a lot of people because this is not the type of headline anyone expects tied to Steve Harvey's family. And one part really stood out online. Jason and Amanda have 4 children. Thankfully, the children were not at the house that night. That alone made people wonder if someone already knew the situation could turn dangerous. Reports say the scene became so intense that police were moving carefully through the property while trying to calm everyone down. Steve Harvey's reported reaction reportedly shifted from anger to relief once he realized everyone survived. Most parents would probably feel the same way. But online, people quickly stopped seeing this as just one bad night and started looking at the bigger family picture. Because Steve has 7 children total, 4 biological children from earlier marriages, and 3 stepchildren he adopted after marrying Marjorie Harvey. And for years, people online have constantly talked about how Marjorie's children, especially Lori Harvey, seem to stay at the center of attention and controversy. Marjorie's kids have stayed highly visible for years. Fashion shows, magazine covers, celebrity dating stories, and nonstop headlines. Meanwhile, Steve Harvey's biological children from his earlier marriages rarely get public attention unless something goes wrong. That alone does not prove anything because some people truly prefer privacy.
Steve never said that he was sorry. He had our housekeeper pack his belongings up and forward those belongings to you. He took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me, had me evicted from our house.
But online, many started comparing that difference to the old comments from Katt Williams and Wendy Williams. And suddenly, those interviews started getting a lot more attention. Katt Williams didn't just throw out random insults either. He gave detailed claims. Katt said that decades ago, Steve was reportedly making thousands per show, performing multiple times a week while touring with Mark Curry. According to Katt, that did not match the public image of someone being completely homeless. Katt also accused Steve of borrowing material from other comedians, specifically mentioning Bernie Mac and Mark Curry. Those were direct claims from somebody who moved in the same comedy world for years. Then Wendy Williams added even more heat when she said on air, Steve Harvey was never homeless a day in his life. Wendy also suggested that Marjorie had major influence inside the household and hinted that Steve did not fully control certain situations. The crazy part is those comments existed years before Jason Harvey's recent controversy ever made headlines. At the time, most people ignored all of it because Steve Harvey's career was untouchable. He had hit TV shows, huge book sales, Family Feud, and a public image built around motivation, relationships, and success. A lot of fans simply did not want to question the brand he created. The image of Steve Harvey going from sleeping in his car to living a luxury lifestyle became a massive success story. People connected deeply with that comeback narrative, so questioning it almost felt cruel to some fans. But as time passed, more people started repeating the same doubts. Mary Shackleford, Steve's second wife, also claimed the homeless story was exaggerated. Now people were hearing similar claims from multiple directions. An ex-wife who lived through that period, a comedian who worked alongside him, and a major talk show host. That is a huge reason the topic keeps resurfacing online instead of disappearing. Things became even heavier when Mary's accusations went beyond the homeless story. In lawsuits against Steve Harvey, she reportedly used serious terms involving family conflict and emotional harm. The claims grabbed attention because of how intense the allegations sounded. One report centered around an incident involving their son Wenton after a school call about missing homework. According to reports at the time, Wenton allegedly told authorities he was disciplined with a belt and a paddle-like object. Documents reportedly mentioned bruising and pain that lasted for days afterward. The case never moved forward publicly, but with no charges or conviction announced. Because of that, many people online kept questioning why the situation faded from headlines so quietly. Years later, the suspicion and debate around those old claims still have not fully disappeared. The conversation only got louder after the Jason Harvey incident in October 2024. Once the body cam footage started spreading online, old interviews from Katt Williams and Wendy Williams were already making rounds again. The timing made everything collide at once. People were suddenly watching a real family crisis unfold while revisiting years of old accusations and warnings that many once ignored. Steve Harvey's reported reaction, first anger, then relief everyone survived, still left people asking bigger questions. Why did Jason end up in that situation at all? Why do stories about family tension and controversy keep appearing across different relationships and different parts of the family? And why has Steve stayed mostly silent about it publicly? That silence is exactly what many people keep focusing on now. Steve regularly gives relationship advice, speaks about loyalty, and talks proudly about protecting his daughters. He has spent years building a public image around strong family values. But when conversations turn to Mary Shackleford's allegations, the past reports involving Wenton, or the constant online debate comparing his biological children to Marjorie's children, there has been very little direct response. Instead, fans mostly see polished social media posts showing vacations, celebrations, and happy family moments. Years ago, many people viewed that silence as class and privacy. Now, with old interviews resurfacing everywhere online, some viewers are starting to interpret it very differently. Katt Williams claims Steve Harvey rewrote parts of his past. Wendy Williams flat out said the homeless story was fake. Then Mary Shackleford spent years alleging she was pushed out of the life she helped build, separated from her son, and cut off after the divorce. Those are serious and deeply personal claims. Now, after the Jason Harvey incident, people are revisiting all of it with a completely different perspective. What once looked like isolated complaints is now being viewed by some people as a pattern that has followed the family for years. That is why old interviews, court filings, and past accusations are suddenly going viral again. A lot of viewers are now asking bigger questions. What exactly were Katt Williams and Wendy Williams saying that got ignored for so long? What was inside Mary Shackleford's lawsuits that most people barely paid attention to the first time? And what details buried in court records, police reports, and old interviews still have not been fully connected together? For many following the story online, the Jason Harvey controversy does not feel like the full story anymore. Instead, it feels like the event that pushed people to go back and re-examine everything that came before it. And while most headlines focus on Jason, there is an older legal battle sitting quietly in the background that keeps drawing attention. Mary Shackleford did not simply disappear after the divorce. She took legal action and reportedly used intense language in court filings involving emotional harm, child safety concerns, and conspiracy allegations. One phrase especially shocked people because of how serious it sounded in a courtroom setting. What made the situation stand out even more was Mary's claim that the real problem started after the divorce was already over. Mary Shackleford claimed that after the divorce, she was pushed out of her own home and suddenly cut off from the life she once shared with Steve Harvey. She said people in business who once worked closely with her stopped returning her calls, and she also alleged that Steve turned their son Wenton against her. According to reports, the court later issued a gag order connected to the case. That is important because a gag order does not automatically mean someone's claims were false. It simply means the court decided public discussion around the situation needed to be limited. For many people online, that detail completely changed how they viewed the story. Mary later claimed she lost contact with Wenton and could no longer publicly defend herself while Steve continued growing his massive career. He was still hosting TV shows, selling books, and expanding his public image, while she was reportedly restricted from speaking out. Whether people believe her claims or not, many notice the imbalance between someone with a huge public platform and someone legally limited from responding. Before the gag order reportedly silenced public discussion, several serious allegations had already surfaced in reports. According to those reports, Wenton allegedly told authorities he was disciplined with a belt and a wooden paddle-like object, leaving bruises and pain that lasted for days afterward. So the situation never turned into a public criminal case with no charges or conviction announced. But because there was never much explanation about why it faded away, the story continued raising questions for people following the situation from the outside. This is the point where some people begin questioning how situations involving celebrities are handled publicly. If an average person faced accusations involving visible bruises on a child, many would expect a long investigation, or at least a detailed public explanation if the case went nowhere. But in this situation, the story seemed to disappear almost as fast as it appeared. For critics, that silence became part of the controversy itself. Not proof that anyone was guilty, but proof in their view that fame and influence can shape how stories are managed in public. There were no major updates, no detailed explanation from authorities, and eventually the conversation faded while a gag order involving Mary Shackleford remained part of the discussion. Now, when people step back and connect everything together, many start seeing what they believe is a larger pattern. Not just one isolated incident or one difficult relationship, but repeated situations where problems seem to quietly fade once money, fame, or legal influence enters the picture. Mary Shackleford claims she was pushed aside after the divorce. The Wenton situation faded without much public explanation. Multiple people publicly questioned Steve Harvey's famous homeless story. Then the Jason Harvey controversy brought fresh attention back onto the entire family dynamic. Any single story by itself could be dismissed by critics as drama, exaggeration, or bad decisions. But when people online look at all of these situations together, many begin wondering if there are deeper tensions inside the family that the public has never fully understood. And according to some viewers following the story closely, the controversy does not stop with Steve Harvey alone. Marjorie Harvey's past has been a major topic online for years, especially because it includes connections to a serious federal case. Before marrying Steve Harvey, she was married to Jim Townsend. Townsend was convicted on federal charges tied to an attempted purchase involving illegal substances. He originally received a life sentence and ultimately spent 26 years in prison, before later receiving a presidential pardon from President Obama in 2017. During that larger investigation, reports claimed Marjorie was also looked at by federal agencies, although she was never charged with any crime. Townsend later alleged that investigators pressured him by saying his wife could face legal trouble if he refused to cooperate. Marjorie has never been convicted or publicly charged, and she divorced Townsend years before his release. Still, the situation remains one of the most talked about parts of the family's history online. For many people, those details alone sound like major headlines: a federal investigation, a life sentence, and eventually a presidential pardon. Yet Steve Harvey has rarely spoken publicly in depth about that chapter of Marjorie's past or addressed the attention surrounding Townsend's decades in prison. Because of that, the topic mostly stayed in the background while the family continued presenting a polished image online. But after Jason Harvey's recent controversy, many viewers started revisiting old stories connected to the family, including questions surrounding Jim Townsend and the federal investigation tied to that era of Marjorie's life. The conversation around Marjorie Harvey's past did not stop with Jim Townsend. After that relationship, reports connected her to Darnell Woods, who is widely believed to be Lori Harvey's biological father. Online rumors for years have also linked Woods to legal trouble similar to Townsend's past. Eventually, Marjorie later married Steve Harvey. Critics online have pointed to that timeline for years. Jim Townsend, Darnell Woods, then Steve Harvey. Each relationship seemed connected to men with growing influence, money, or status. That alone does not prove anything about Marjorie's intentions, but it explains why people continue debating the same questions online. Some people believe she was simply searching for stability and security, while others think there may have been a pattern in the type of men she surrounded herself with. Steve Harvey has never really addressed those conversations directly, even while continuing to publicly speak about loyalty, relationships, and strong family values. Then things became even more interesting in 2019 when Jim Townsend announced plans to release a tell-all book about his marriage to Marjorie. He claimed the book would reveal shocking details and said much of it had already been written during his time in prison. The book has still never been released, but people online continue talking about what it could contain. Around that same period, rumors also started spreading that Steve Harvey was reportedly selling Texas properties and reorganizing certain assets. Steve and Marjorie publicly denied divorce speculation and even joked about the rumors online. But many people still paid attention to the timing of everything happening at once. Fair or not, some people began questioning why there appeared to be so much financial movement happening if everything behind the scenes was supposedly fine. The rumors alone were enough to keep online speculation alive for years. Then the Jason Harvey incident brought all the old conversations rushing back. The situation involving the psychedelic episode did more than create headlines. It reminded people that the family controversies were not just ancient internet gossip anymore. This was recent, documented, and connected to police reports and body cam footage. Mary Shackleford's lawsuits happened years ago. The allegations involving Winton are old news. Jim Townsend talking about a tell-all book also happened long before this latest controversy. But Jason's situation unfolded in October 2024. And that fresh timing changed how many people view everything else connected to the family. Suddenly, older stories that had faded into the background were back in public discussion again. And along with them came the same questions Steve Harvey has mostly avoided addressing publicly for years. If the family dynamic is really as strong as it looks online, why do these stories continue resurfacing? Why was there reportedly a gag order connected to his second wife? Why did the Winton situation quietly fade away without much explanation? And why does discussion about Marjorie's past keep returning to the spotlight? Whether Steve Harvey responds publicly or not, those are the questions many people online continue asking. The silence around all of this feels very different now. Steve Harvey built a career on speaking about relationships, honesty, loyalty, and personal growth. He has spent years giving advice to millions of people through TV shows, books, and interviews. But when conversations shift toward the controversies tied to his own family history, he has mostly stayed quiet in public. Instead, people mainly see polished social media posts, anniversary photos, and carefully managed public appearances. For a long time, that seemed enough to keep these stories pushed into the background. But now, with body cam footage connected to his son's recent crisis, old court filings resurfacing online, and renewed discussion around his wife's past, the public conversation has completely changed. Whether fair or unfair, some people no longer see the Harvey family image as untouchable the way they once did. Questions keep growing about what could still be hidden inside sealed court records, what Jim Townsend's unreleased book might reveal, and why Steve Harvey has never directly responded to many of these controversies head on. Now, people are watching closely to see whether more details eventually come out, or if the silence continues. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think these controversies are being blown out of proportion? Or is there more to the story than people realize? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown.